Dodgers camp is about 3 weeks, maybe about 20 days old. More importantly, there are about, we'll say 19 days left until opening day. Do we think that we know what the opening day roster is going to look like? We're making our roster predictions, also some season predictions, projections, all of that kind of stuff, voicemails, and more on this edition of All Dodgers. Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is All Dodge Podcast, presented by FanDuel, part of the Bleav Network of podcasts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. My name is Clint. Find me as Real FRG on the social media. Today, it is a Saturday show. It's going to be a little bit different, a little bit of a hybrid, non-spicy then spicy show because we have some things to talk about, and the things are so good, we had to make sure Jeff was here. Snydog in the middle. We got Skinner7 Kevin on the right-hand side of your screen. We are the boys that make up the All Dodgers podcast, and a couple days off. I think everybody needed a little bit of a break. Everybody wanted to watch some WBC games, but we're here. And we got some roster to talk about, Jeff.
Yeah, I predict the Dodgers will have a roster. All right, we're done here, boy.
I would hit the sign off button, but a lot of things would happen if I do that. Kevbo, what do you feel about your confidence in knowing who the 26 dudes are going to be come, what is it, March 26th?
I feel pretty good about 25 of them. I think the position players are pretty set.
Yeah,
there's one pitching slot we're not too sure on.
Yeah, it's a boring camp in a number of ways. We've talked about this quite a bit. The roster battles, positional battles are pretty much locked in. I think we could all assume Ha-Seong Kim will be the opening day second baseman. So it's really going to be about who takes a roster spot while Tommy Edman is injured. And then on the pitching side, it's who's going to fill the roster spot while Blake Snell is sidelined. And then, of course, we know the Dodgers will be without the services of Gavin Stone. Maybe... some questions in the bullpen, but let's dive into it. We put this screen together here. We got some asterisks to indicate that maybe these players move. Either they're not on the roster or more likely kind of swap positions. But where do we want to start? Should we start on the rotation there, Jeff?
I just this is something I probably should have noticed before we started, Clint, but you're missing a guy.
Am I?
Yeah, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a good count.
Yeah, this has we shouldn't have any asterisks if this is it, because there's only 13 pitchers on this list, because Shohei Ohtani doesn't count as a pitcher. You're missing your one and only true love, Kyle Hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's 13 players. There's 13 pitchers on here.
But I'm saying if there's asterisks of guys who are still questions that they're
about. I did not. I purposefully omitted Kyle Hurt because I don't think he makes the opening day roster.
Huh. Yeah, and I think Kyle Hurt is worth talking about, because I think that Kyle Hurt. I love Ben Kasperius. I think Kyle Hurt might be pushing Benny Caps for that last roster spot. Like, I think Hurt, Kasperius, and Will Klein are battling for the last two spots in the Dodgers bullpen right now. And obviously, maybe the answer will end up being one of these guys who's actually on the list gets a sore elbow between now and then, because that's generally how these decisions get made for the Dodgers.
I added Kyle Hurt now.
Yeah, now it looks like some sort of hybrid. Will Klein, Kyle Hurt.
You put the pieces together, but that's what I had. Like
hashtag mental formatting.
we know Kyle Hurt.
Yeah, we know that guy. We know the locks. We got the most likely dudes, who at this point, Santiago Espinal, River Ryan will be one of those most likely dudes that we can have a conversation about Roki Sasaki. But if it's not him, I guess Robleski slides in there, and then you definitely have a spot for all of Kasperius, Klein, and Hurt. But I really think I had the guys on the outside looking in. It's going to be Kyle Hurt or Ben Kasperius, and I think the team. I think Dave is. I don't know. I don't know if I would even say it that way. I think Kasparius is a little bit more of a lock than Kyle Hurt just because he was with the club for so much last year. He was so important to the club last year. And obviously Will Klein, kind of the flavor of October there, flavor of the World Series. I feel like he's a lock. It's his job until he loses it.
Yeah, Hurt and Klein have almost identical performance so far this spring. Their ERAs are identical. Their whips are identical. They've gotten there in slightly different ways. Couple more hits for Klein, couple more walks for Hurt, or maybe that's the other way around. Obviously, Klein gave up the home run. Hurt hasn't given up a home run. But, I mean, for the most part, they've both been excellent. And, and Ben Kasparius hasn't been bad. And I agree with you that there is that history of Kasparius. But I wonder, like, I guess the fact, like you said, there's 19 days left in spring training. I feel like that battle is ongoing. And I feel like any one of those three guys could step up and say, no, this spot is mine. Or one of them could, could stumble a little bit and drop out of the conversation. And so that's where I'm not ready to commit on those. I think everybody else, I made you put the asterisk next to Roki Sasaki because I think there's a chance that if he doesn't improve at all, despite what Dave Roberts has said about how he's going to be in the rotation, if his last 3 or 4 starts are as the same level of bad as his first couple have been, I could see them saying, you know what, go make some starts in Oklahoma City to figure out, but I don't think it's likely, but I think it's possible. But everything else, I mean, there's a lot of guys who are just locked in either because they don't have options or because they absolutely deserve the spot, or in the vast majority of cases, both of those things.
I'll say this, and I'll try to set up something for you, Kevin, to dive into, because I think really where we're at is there's one roster battle, and it's going to be that final bullpen spot, or really the final two, but it's going to be some amalgamation of Kasparius, Klein, and Hurt. We already pretty much know Espinal is a lock. The team has said they're not, or Dave has said, like, he doesn't see a world where like Sasaki opening the season to AAA isn't even on the table. So Kevin, would you agree that, like, kind of looking at all this and just talking it through, that we have a 25-man roster right now set, and it's about who takes that 26th spot, that final spot in the bullpen, and it's going to be down, between Klein and Hurt, or Kasparius and Hurt.
I think Hurt's more of a lock than either Kasparius or Klein.
Right, I'm clapping for that.
Looking at kind of the bullpen pieces, the bullpen right now doesn't have a right-handed long reliever, and Kasparius struggled in that role last year. Now, we don't know if that's because they had him do an inning and then they started him and then they bounced him around too much. That, like, I'm not saying he can't be one. I just know he struggled in that role last year. So, and Kyle Hurt has already come out and said they're building him up to be a multi-inning reliever. So I would have Hurt as my lock because the bullpen's missing that. And then I would have Kasparius second, Klein third. I think if you need an inning, Kasparius is more consistent than Klein. As great as Klein is, and obviously World Series hero, like, can't take that away from him ever. But there is the concern of, can he throw strikes still? He did give up a long ball. There is a reason he moved around so much last year before ending up with the Dodgers, late in the season. So for me, I think Hurt's a lock for me. And then it's between Kasparius and Klein, but I have a pretty strong lead towards Kasparius.
I would agree on the Hurt side. I didn't want to be considered a Kyle Hurt homer anymore. I'm trying to give us some space a little bit, but reality is Dave has been exceptionally high on Kyle Hurt. They're building him up to be a multi-inning guy, like you mentioned, and that's going to be bigly important before or for the first month or two of the season, as some guys are coming back. Obviously, River Ryan in there, Roki Sasaki, you don't know what you get. Shohei Ohtani's probably not going to be built up to more than 65 pitches by the time the season opens because of his duties with Team Japan. Emmett Sheehan as well. We've only seen an inning plus, I think, out of Sheehan now so far. So we don't know if we're going to get a customary Tyler Glasnow injury or something like that. So like having a Kyle Hurt that can give you 2 innings. Same with Kasperius, but it seems like they're kind of building him up to be the 1 inning guy. And Wroblewski, I saw the Enigma gave us a 999 super chat. Must have been payday for the Enigma. Hold on, let's go ahead and embiggen that one there, and let's hit the gong. And why don't you read it? I got to sneeze.
Go for it, Kevin.
Katie Wu is reporting that the team expects Robo to start and is being built up to 75 pitches by the end of March. So agree with it or not, factor him into the rotation until everybody is healthy. Yep, that doesn't change the math, though, on who's in the bullpen, because that just puts the rotation at 6 people, which we expected them to be at anyway. So, just like last year, you're technically down a bullpen arm. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't change the calculus too much. But
what else?
I mean, I'm glad Wroblewski's getting an opportunity to start because we know he can do it. He just needs to be given the opportunity.
What I'll say to that, Jeff, is I have River Ryan in my rotation, and maybe that's also my slight love affair for River Ryan. But Dave has been pretty steadfast in the Wroblewski starting this spring, saying he's a starter. River Ryan, I don't think has started any games. I mean, hell, they started his brother before he started a game. More likely, River Ryan's going to be in that Kyle Hurt, Ben Kasperius 2 to 3 inning bucket. Probably, if anything, River Ryan will be more in that 3 inning bucket. Would you agree with that? That more than likely flipping Robo and Ryan?
Yeah, probably. At least to start with, I think that River Ryan is a starter going forward, and it would feel kind of weird to me if they put him in the bullpen right now. But also, he is coming back from a major injury, and Robo's not, and so it doesn't need to be a demotion to the bullpen. It can be hey, we're going to build you up as the season goes on. We know that first year back from Tommy John surgery, you probably don't have more than 100 innings in you anyway. And so we want you to, we're going to take you out of the bullpen as a 1 or 2 inning guy for the first month of the season. And then you may become a 3 inning guy for the next couple months. And then, by August, we expect you, they may even tell them, in July, we're going to send you down to Oklahoma City to build up as a starter. And then in August, we expect you to be a big part of this rotation. And some of the, obviously, trying to guess anything that's going to happen with the Dodgers pitching staff 5 months down the road, there's so many elbows and shoulders that could explode between now and then that it's a fool's errand. But yeah, I think that for River Ryan right now and how we've seen them use him, like you said, he hasn't started games. He hasn't gone more than 2 innings in a game. It seems like they are slow playing, and I think that's because of the expected innings limit on him this year coming back from surgery.
Yeah. Dave has also mentioned about River Ryan, that, he's not going to have so much of bumpers up. He's not going to have any guardrails, but the reality is he's going to need them. And now that the starting rotation depth has taken a decent little bit of a hit with the loss of Gavin Stone for how long, we don't know yet. And still not seeing anything consistently good or great out of Roki Sasaki. I think eventually that door is going to be wide open for River Ryan, and it's going to be more important to have him fully healthy and ready to go for that second half of the season. So I've been arguing, I think they will have like a baked in rest period for him in there, however that might look. Getting back into the locks, I have Sheehan above Ohtani just because, if we're talking about laying out an order to open the season, not that this is important, but, again, Shohei's not going to be built up all the way to beyond 60, 65 pitches. So, luckily the team does have some days off early in the season that'll help them out, kind of, I guess, mix and match where they want to. I do honestly expect we'll see a bullpen game in the first 2 to 3 weeks. Let's move to the infielder side. I mean, again, we feel.
Can I make one more point on pitchers real quick?
Absolutely.
What you just said might be bad news for Will Klein, just because if they're not expecting Ohtani to be built up, if there's build-up questions and possibly bullpen game questions, if Hurt and Ryan are both more built up as multi-inning relievers, and Kasperius, those guys, or more multi-inning relievers, which is funny to say Will Klein might get sent to the minors because they need somebody to pitch multiple innings after what he did in the World Series. But
Yeah.
Will Klein isn't generally a multi-inning reliever, except when they absolutely need him to be. And so that might be a case where for the first few weeks they would focus on, just practicality of, well, these guys can go multiple innings. These guys can piggyback off Shohei and necessary stuff like that.
Yeah. Kevin, any other thoughts?
Nope. That's exactly why I had Klein as the lowest on the totem pole. And it's not for lack of talent. It's just, I don't know if his role is what the team needs, especially if this bullpen was more righty heavy, or if it lacked lefties, then maybe, but it doesn't. So they need a right-handed reliever, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and he just kind of doesn't fit that role.
Hey, hear me out
Unless he's saving the World Series, then yeah, we bring him back.
Hear me out a little bit on this one. We Kevin, you and I are big time Ryder Ryan guys ever since you sent me that video of his nasty, sinker sweeper mix that I think can and very easily will get better with the team. He's quote started a couple of games for this team. I'll throw to you as the resident Ryder Ryan lover. Is he somebody who could sneak into the mix? Because right now they have a couple of roster spots to play with. They're at 39 with the Jack Sawinski outright last week. They can still put Gavin Stone on the 60-day. They could still put other people on the 60-day if needed. You probably won't see a move like that with somebody like Blake Snell because it's not going to be that long of a hang-up, but maybe, probably not, but maybe a Brock Stewart. So anyways, you have roster space. Could Ryder Ryan be like this year's early season Matt Sauer to pick up a fair amount of innings in the first month or two?
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. He does have one option year left. I could easily see it as he's going to AAA, and then at the first sign of, all right, we got to skip someone in the rotation, throw them on the IL, bring up Ryder Ryan and let him make a couple starts just to see what you've got there. I think this, and he's looked pretty good in spring training. I think this stuff plays enough that, like you said, they have the roster space. So there's no reason to not just option him to AAA. And then if they realize they don't need him, you could trade him for, international pool money or a lottery ticket. But I think he does have value to this organization. Exactly because we do this every year, and I will always say this. It's like going into the season, we're like, oh, there's a battle, and then Pet's heads start falling off in the middle of April, and like you said, Matt Sauer's starting games, or Landon Knack is starting games at this point. So,
Jeff, do you?
I think Ryder Ryan's a more quality Landon Knack, I think, at this point.
Yeah, that's maybe. Oh God, that's painful. Jeff, do you think Ryder Ryan could be one of those kind of dark horse, come out of nowhere Cinderella story opening day roster dudes?
Only if it was for practicality reasons. I don't think Ryder Ryan is overly good. He doesn't strike guys out. He doesn't have the stuff to get the strikeouts. And I mean, yesterday, last night's game, first inning, 15 pitches, 4 strikes, somehow faced the minimum with 2 walks. He gets a hard line out to Teo that Teo almost TO'd, and then walks a dude, picks him off. Walks a dude, that guy gets caught stealing. Like, he got bailed out there by some bad base running on the pickoff, and then good throw by Dalton Rushing on the caught stealing. If Ryder Ryan makes this roster, it is only because they're looking at, well, he could throw multiple innings. They're going to be living innings, but not good innings.
That's one way to put it.
That's exactly. It's going to be sit in AAA for a little bit, and then as soon as we need you, here's 2 starts, and we'll see if you've got anything.
Yeah, again, that's where I could also see. So Will Klein does not have options, right?
He does.
Oh, he does.
He does have options, but he's not supposed to go multiple innings, and that's the rub here. Is when you go to these 6-man
that's where I could
you
see
need
them
length from your bullpen.
Yeah, that's where I could see them being creative, and doing something that the premise of the show today is the 26-man roster set. Maybe not, just because they could do weird Dodgers things and, pick up somebody that, or decide to add somebody who's in camp right now that you 100,000% did not expect to be on that roster. And all of a sudden they're on that roster. I think Ryder Ryan could be one of those guys. I would not be shocked if he ends up being one of those guys. I want to take a break here. We'll get back into the rest of roster talk. I want to tell people about IQ Bar, because that's what we do on the show. The episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. IQ Bar, they have protein bars. There are IQ Mix hydration mixes, IQ Joe mushroom coffees. They're all delicious, low sugar, brain and body fuel. That's the stuff you need to win your day. You get that ultimate sampler pack. I got a couple behind me here. Still have not opened them, but they are the ones I have tried. Great way. That sampler pack is a great way to try all your IQ Bar products and flavors. You get the 9 IQ Bar mixes right behind me. You can't see it on the screen right now. 8 IQ Mix sticks and 4 IQ Joe coffee additive sticks. It's the IQ Mix. That's a good one I really like. If you like your hydration mixed in with your water or whatever, it's a 0 sugar drink mix that gives you the hydrates you. It gives the electrolytes, which are what plants crave. It improves your mood, boosts clarity, which clearly I need right now. So I should have had one before the show. I've tried it. I like it. I want more. Your boy will be bringing it with him to spring training coming up. But they have over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting. More people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyle with IQ Bar right there on the screen right now. IQ Bar is offering a special for our podcast listeners, 20% off all IQ Bar products. You see it on the screen. You get 20% off using MLB. You text MLB to 64,000. Message and data rates apply. See terms for details. Again, text MLB 64,000. 20% off. You could even use it on the ultimate sampler pack. Get all that stuff. Thank you to IQ Bar for sponsoring today's show. And let's get back into some roster talk. I want to talk about the position player side, the Espinal. Just before we decided to hit the live button and be live mostly on time, despite True Blue Reef in the chat saying over under on how late the host will be after scheduled start time. We were maybe 40 seconds, maybe. But we appreciate everybody hanging out with us in the chat, and get your thoughts in the chat as well about the roster, other Dodgers, maybe WBC things you want to talk about. But we talked just before about maybe less about Espinal not making the roster and more about could Alex Freeland or like Nick Senzel make enough of a splash. I think Freeland at this point, no. Nick Senzel's also had a pretty nice spring thus far. Jeff, would it be dumb to even consider talking about them because it feels like Espinal's already the lock?
Yeah, Espinal isn't in question. Espinal is a lock. For me, the Freeland and Senzel, you would think maybe the fact that I can never remember Nick Senzel's name tells you how likely I think he is to make the roster. Mm-hmm. But Senzel has played decently. Freeland, his batting average looks bad, but he's actually played pretty okay this spring. Ultimately, I don't think it's about Santiago Espinal. I think he's absolutely in. I think Hae-Sung Kim is still technically in a battle. I think he is well in the lead, and it would be a miraculous victory for somebody else to surpass him. But I do think, as far as the Dodgers are concerned, that Kim, Freeland, and Senzel are still kind of battling for that last roster spot. And if for no other reason, that to keep them motivated, because Santiago Espinal is probably going to turn back into a pumpkin at some point. And whether that's in March or April or May or June, stranger things have happened. And I'm not so confident he's going to turn into a pumpkin that I'll say something like I'll eat my shoe. But I do think that we have quite a bit of history of Santiago Espinal. We know he's not as good a hitter as he's been in spring training. Yeah. The question is, how much not as good a hitter is he? And and so there's going to be opportunities throughout the season. And so I think these guys are still battling technically for opening day, even though opening day is unlikely for Freeland and Senzel. But they're still battling.
Yeah, they're around. They're trying their best. Kevin, any thoughts about that final kind of infield position roster
I think
battle?
it's no, I think it's Hassan Kim's. He
Well, he's definitely
much
the
like
opening day second baseman. I think that's
yeah,
100%.
and Miguel Rojas will be in there in the mix as well. I think the position players are pretty set. Santiago Espinal, like Jeff had mentioned, he's earned it. He has not been a good bat for 4 years at
number
this
of
point,
years,
and
yeah.
he had 100 WRC plus back in 2022. Excuse me. So it's not like he was ever been known for tearing the cover off anything. So he's earned it. That's what the spring training is for. That's why he got invited. I don't know how long it'll last, but yeah, he's earned it. And then until he doesn't, I think Alex Freeland outside looking in, but as soon as the Espinal doesn't work out, I think it's just Alex Freeland's job to take until Kike comes back.
Well, I mean, it'll be Tommy Edman first, and then you're going to have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
real
Edman
conversation.
yeah.
By the way, Tommy Edman today taking live BP at Camelback, so we're getting a little bit closer. Obviously, he's still going to open the season on the injured list. He'll probably miss most, if not all, of the first month of the season, which is perfectly fine. First proper month, April. Other guys have kind of made a little bit of waves, like there's the Noah Miller. We've seen some who's that other guy? Mickey Ciani. He's been around. I kind of wonder about the outfield. Like I've had people question often-ish if Alex Call is a lock. Yes, he's a lock, but could somebody like Ciani maybe push, or hell, maybe JT3, give me some James Tibbs III in there, force his way into that opening day roster, which would be dumb because he's not going to get playing time over Tucker, Pajes, and Hernandez. But Jeff, is it even worth a conversation to say that Alex Call's role as the fourth outfielder is in question?
No, and I think it's crazy to think about. I mean, is the fact that they traded for him last year at the trade deadline. He played well for them after they traded for him, and he has an 1139 OPS this spring. Like, I feel like the only reason people think he wouldn't make it is because they're still mad that they didn't trade for like Barry Bonds at the trade deadline last year. Maybe Barry Bonds. There's actually, knowing Dodger fans, they would have been upset about getting peak Barry Bonds because he was a Giant. Yeah, no, Alex Call is the fourth outfielder unless he's hurt. And all these other guys, Mickey Ciani is going to go play in AAA, and it's not like he's banging down the door of the big leagues. He's been in the big leagues before, hasn't played well, but he's going to play well in Oklahoma City, and he will probably be the first guy called up because he's the guy who's on the 40-man roster. And all the other guys, whether it's Tibbs or Hope or DePaula or Earhart or any of those guys, all of them need more time in the minor leagues. And so, especially since you don't have a starting job available, it would be crazy to even think about any of those guys. And really, Call and Ciani are the only guys in this conversation because they're the only guys who don't need to be starting every day to meet their potential. Like, you're not going to bring up a stud prospect to sit on the bench. And so it's Alex Call or it's Mickey Ciani, and Call has played better, and Call has more of a major league track record. And ultimately, that's what they're going to look at. Now, if Andy Pajes were to get hurt or struggle really badly, then Mickey Ciani enters the chat because he can play center field. And, Alex Call can play center field, but there's a lot of air quotes around several of those words. But yeah, right now, when you're just looking at fourth outfielder, get some starts once in a while, it seems like it's Alex Call without much doubt.
It's I saw somebody in the chat mentioning, like, if Espinal could play some outfield, that would be such a huge win for this team because they are in a little bit of a tough spot when it comes to outfield, depth, I guess, the ability of a player to get kicked out to the outfield, as Dave might say, without Tommy Edman healthy, without Kike Hernandez healthy. Like, It feels like they're pretty super limited. Shouldn't be an issue, but over the course of a full 162, it will be an issue. Thankfully, you got a couple of guys coming back that will help fix that or fill that. But I don't have much else to add. Kevin, you got anything else on the roster? I'll put it up one last time. The all Dodgers roster show.
No, I do think the only way out, if Alex Call he does have options left, so they can option him to AAA. I think the only way that happens, though, is if both Tommy Edman and Kike Hernandez and everyone else is healthy at the same time. Then I think Alex Call is on the outside looking in. I understand Jeff's point of Alex Call is an actual good baseball player compared to, let's say, Kike Hernandez. As much as I love Kike, his regular season stats are what they are at this point. The Dodgers believe in Kike, and they're going to bet on him in October before Alex Call. But I think that's the only way. If something were to happen, there is backup at the AAA level. But if somehow they go through all 162 and everybody is healthy and comes back healthy when they're expected to, I could very much see Alex Call getting optioned for whoever Kike, who's coming back second.
Yeah. That is definitely
I'm actually optimistic about Kike. I think a lot of his struggles last year were because of the injury. Yeah. I expect him to be a decent player.
I think it would be better. Yeah, I do too. I have nothing against Kike. I just think I think Dodger fans have a tendency to overrate Kike because of what we've seen in big moments from him. And then I think they've also underrated how good Alex Call was last year when they needed him. So I was trying to find kind of a middle ground there to lower expectations of one and boost up the other.
The only other guy I think, Clint, that just because the chat's talking about him a little bit is Noah Miller, who deserves a little bit of talk because he's been awesome this spring. And I've mentioned he has opened my eyes a little bit. He's got an OPS over 1100 this spring. I still remain concerned that is 450 points better than his best minor league OPS. And so, for me, Noah Miller has earned an awesome opportunity to go to AAA and keep this going and actually show, hey, I actually made some improvements. This wasn't a 4-week fluke in spring training. I actually figured out how to hit. And we've seen it happen before. James Outman was not a prospect. He was a guy who just got starts in spring training because somebody had to play. And then over a couple of years, he turned himself into a prospect. Now, obviously, James Outman may not be the best example to use about anything, but Outman and Miller are very different kinds of hitters. Outman, even when he turned himself into a prospect, struck out too often, and that was the big concern. Miller doesn't strike out a ton. He makes good contact. And so I think he's got a golden opportunity. If he goes to Oklahoma City this year, where last year he had a 612 OPS in Oklahoma City. If he goes to Oklahoma City this year and puts up an 850, 900 OPS with his elite glove at shortstop, then he's a real conversation. This guy just turned himself into a dude. But that is going to happen in Oklahoma City, not on the Dodgers, because again, for his development, you're not going to, hey, come. You've earned the right to come sit on the bench behind Mookie Betts. No, you've earned the right to go to AAA and try to start the conversation that, hey, Mookie, why don't you move to second base because I got shortstop on lock.
Down the road. I mean, that would be probably maybe potentially one of those best case scenarios. You still got to find a spot for Tommy Edman to play. Still got to figure out what you have in Ha-Seong Kim. But the more somebody like Noah Miller advancing in his career, that just creates more of those good problems to have, which generally works for the Dodgers in this championship run. The Enigma in the chat says, Jeff, optimistic about Kike? We really are in the end times. A lot of faith.
Yeah, hey, I was realistic. When he was playing really poorly, I identified the fact that he was playing really poorly.
If anything, I'm more shocked to have positive words out of you on Noah Miller, because we know he's a good glove, but yeah, the bat's been ass at AAA, and right now he's taking advantage of maybe some changes, but taking advantage of visibility, as where somebody like our boy Wardo is not taking advantage of visibility with the big league coaching staff, and that's just baseball.
Yeah, for the most part, on minor leaguers, we can only scout the stat line. None of us are prospect experts. We're definitely not going to every OKC Comets game, And what I see in Noah Miller is a guy who at every level of the minor leagues has been a bad hitter. And then I see him watching him play. I'm like, how is a guy with this swing such a bad hitter? And so that's why I kind of assume, okay, maybe the swing has changed. Maybe he's worked on some stuff. That's what I'm hoping, because the swing doesn't look like a 645 career OPS in the minors guy. But that's what the player is, but the swing doesn't look like it. And so feels to me like he's made some changes, made some improvements, and maybe figured some things out.
I made some improvements. I decided to say Jeff it, and I made the official opening day roster that I decided. I got Robo in that starting rotation. Not that I think it's important, but I do like having a left-hander in that starting rotation, which you add with Justin Wrobleski. River Ryan has moved over. I got Kyle Hurt in there over Will Klein, and there it is.
My son is going to be so mad at me that I talked you into putting Kyle Hurt over Will Klein, because my son loves Will Klein.
Listen, he's going to love Kyle Hurt more.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's get into the chat a little bit here. We'll have some fun with friends in the chat, and of course, everybody's favorite, Richie, says, one thing I can count on, Jeff will never have anything positive to say about the DeVore Man Cave.
I've never said anything negative about the DeVore Man Cave.
Yeah, it's fair.
I am aware that it exists, and that's pretty neutral.
Yeah. Raul 499 on the super chat. Thank you very much. Raul says Wardo needs to step up, or he will end up being traded for cash only. Yeah, he seems like one of those cash considerations type of guys, potentially not seizing an opportunity. Doesn't have the prospect sheen that somebody like Michael Bush had without playing time. $5 from JY Kim. We appreciate the super chat from JY Kim. All three of you have been measured and fair, which I appreciate. I don't understand the overreaction, plus or minus, over spring training games. Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean,
matters. It matters to some players more than others, and it's just kind of identifying. Sure. Yeah, it comes down to identifying which players those stat lines matter for. And for someone like Noah Miller, it matters a whole heck of a lot, because he hasn't shown it at the AAA level, and he's going to need to prove it. You guys were talking about it, and all I could think of is, man, the Dodgers. So many of the Dodgers' problems would have been fixed if James Outman could just hit a baseball. If Noah Miller could hit a baseball, it's the same thing. A lot of the Dodgers, present and future problems could get fixed if he figures out how to hit a ball.
Did you guys see there was an image of a thickened up James Outman? I think he put on a few lbs.
The Jock Peterson. Yeah, the Jock Peterson career arc.
Hey, maybe that's what he needed. A little bit of bulk, a little bit of mass
to
connect the
baseball. James, problem is you're an athlete. It's like it's the same mindset as Dodgers don't win the World Series when they win over 100 games. Hey, be worse. Maybe you'll be worse.
I don't know if putting on extra poundage is going to help him not swing through a baseball. Maybe it does.
I mean, listen, I'm running the experiment right now as we speak with the whole putting on the weight. $1.99 much earlier in the chat from Ray Soto. Forgot to mention it earlier, but thank you, Ray, as always, for supporting the show, and everybody who does support the show with super chats and all that kind of stuff. Super thanks after the show. We very much appreciate that from y'all. I don't know which one of you guys wants to take this. I don't, but Vin88, $2 on the super chat asking a question. What's Espinal's backstory, please? I just got here. Kevin, how much backstory you got?
He's a glove first infielder at best. He's had 1 year over a league average with the bat. He's around a 240, 260 batting average, low 300s on base, like mid 3 to low 4s. I don't even know if he hit low 4s slug. Played for Toronto for a while, played for Cincinnati for a bit. Dodgers picked him up. I think he made an All-Star one time with Cincinnati.
2022 with Toronto.
With Toronto, okay. He made an All-Star once. He He's here to, he can, if he can hit, he would actually be a really good platoon option with Max at third base. Because that's where he plays pretty decently, is third base. So if he can figure out how to hit a baseball, him and Max look really good together at third base.
What I was hoping for, like his backstory, I was hoping like the whole Ace Ventura thing.
Spider.
No, it's a soccer style kicker. He graduated Collier High.
Watching his parents get killed. Yeah.
All right. So he's either Batman or he's Spider-Man, apparently.
Yeah. The Batman. The Batman.
Yeah.
The Batman.
Bat Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
His name's not Phil Spiderman. That's from Friends.
His middle name's Roman. Because we big middle name pod over here.
Ooh, we got our Roman Empire.
It's true. It's true.
All right, we're going to take another break real quick. Jeff has something to tell you about that has everything to do with mental toughness.
Yes, it does. We talk a lot about mental toughness here on All Dodgers, and I'm often a little bit dismissive of it because I believe that for the most part, and with very few exceptions, guys who make the big leagues have already mastered mental toughness, at least compared to the general population. In fact, I think the mental side of things is one of the biggest differentiators between those who make it and those who don't. So I want to tell you today about someone I know personally and can really vouch for. This is Dan Gazaway. Dan is my son's pitching coach. That picture on the right there, that tall, lanky kid, that's my son. And the guy with his hands on his shoulders, that is his coach, Dan Gazaway. But Dan is also a sports psychologist and elite mental performance coach. So if you're an athlete or a coach or parent of an athlete who has worked harder than everyone else but still feels stuck, this might be the most important message you hear all year. Here's the truth that most people won't tell you. Athletes don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they never learn how to train the one thing that separates champions from everyone else, their mind. You can lift more, you can practice longer, you can sacrifice more, but if your mind melts under pressure, if confidence disappears after one mistake, if doubt creeps in during big moments, you will never reach your true peak, and that's not a talent issue, that's a training issue. So let me introduce you to Dan Gazaway, sports psychologist and elite mental performance coach who has helped thousands of athletes build unshakable confidence, resilience, focus, and emotional control when it matters most. Dan's mental strength training program is built for athletes who are done guessing under pressure. He'll help you develop routines that hold up in big moments. He'll train your self-talk so it works for you, not against you. And he'll build the kind of confidence that doesn't disappear after a mistake, because mental toughness isn't something you just hope shows up on game day. It's something you train. So if you're ready to stop competing on talent alone and start performing with calm, confident focus, start training your mental muscle today, the one that creates a winning mindset and true peak performance. For a free consultation, visit dangazaway.com. That's Dan, Gazaway.com. Again, DANGAZAWAY.com. Fill out the form to get started and become the athlete who truly believes in themselves.
It just felt right. Felt right at the end. Vin in the chat says it's Dan Gazaway or the Highway. That'd be a good one to throw in there. Good little extra
Dan
tag.
Gazaway of the Highway. I like that.
Yeah.
Richie also being very thrown off. It's a Saturday. You're here, and it's a Saturday, and you're speaking positively about mental toughness.
I believe in mental toughness. I just don't think it's very applicable to most major leaguers, because the way they got to the big leagues was a combination of elite talent and mental toughness. But for kids, if you got a kid in 12U or something, like, mental toughness is huge.
How do I reach these kids? We got $1.99 from Raul, giving some love to Kevin as a fellow Raider fan. The hugs.
Yeah.
What did they do now?
Oh, they just traded away another all-world.
They
edge
traded
for
Bill
2
Cosby.
first-round picks.
Was it Bill Cosby? I can't remember.
Max Crosby.
Oh, yeah. Bubba Crosby.
Second time they've traded away one of the best edge rushers in football for 2 first-round picks, and the last time it didn't go over so well. So I'm just gonna pray they do better this time.
And they're gonna trade him for the pudding. Thank you.
Oh no! Stop. No.
Also, we all of us, I think the last time all 3 of us were together, we were talking about NRIs, and we all jeffed up because we forgot. And Yang Yi brings him back up. Jason Hayward. We forgot about Jay Hay.
Yeah, that one's almost a technicality, though, because they signed him as NRI because
get out of here with your BS justification. I'm right.
We messed up.
It's
No,
okay to put your hand up and take accountability that we messed up, Jeff.
We definitely missed him on the NRIs, but he was not a true NRI the way Santiago Espinal is.
Yeah,
Jason Hayward, when they signed him, Jason Hayward was going to be on their opening day roster from the day they signed him. They just didn't have a 40-man roster spot for him.
Fake news.
That's
that was
different
the most
than Santiago
major
Espinal.
minor league roster, or that was the most major minor league deal of all time.
This is, I don't know. I feel like this became a politician podcast right now because I'm hearing a lot of BS and not enough accountability. Other things in the chat before we move on, because I do want to make predictions. We have not done our prediction show unless we decide to push that and make that its own show as well, because the show is already a little long in the tooth. So I'm deciding now. We'll do predictions on another show. We still have time. Nando.
That's at Clint. We've been going for 45 minutes. He's like, this is too long.
Yeah. You know, Jeff, some people have 18 jobs they have to deal with. All right. But Nando, you only have one job and then a family to rear.
I'm just enjoying today because last week was my son's last basketball game, and next Saturday is his first Saturday baseball game. This is my one Saturday between seasons, and we might as well do a 6-hour all Dodgers, you know?
Not even slightly. Nando, asking, is this a make or break year for Roki as a starter, as a reliever, as anything? Jeff, what do you think about this season and its importance for Roki? No, we'll get you, Kevin. I know you got thoughts.
Yeah, well, I agree with Kevin vigorously shaking his head. No, when you sign a guy knowing you have 6 years of team control, knowing the talent he has, definitely year 2 is not make or break. Year 2 is definitely the year that they hope he takes some big steps forward, and he has a huge opportunity to make it. But this is not an or break season. It's just a we hope he makes it season.
Kevin, comment?
Yeah, no. I mean, not much to add there. He's 24 years old. He was signed as a prospect. We got to treat him like a prospect. They're definitely not shutting the door on anything for Roki Sasaki. The kid, and he is a kid, needs time to develop.
Let the boy sleep in your bed. All right, we have
what?
It's an SNL thing.
Yeah.
Let me sleep in your bed. Can I come home with you? Mr. Freed TVG.
Adam Sandler was on SNL.
What's his name? Mr. Hurley?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good for you, Clint, that I could clock that as an Adam Sandler.
But did you really not know that Adam Sandler was on Saturday Night Live, Kevin?
No, I did, but I've never heard of the bit before. So he could have been imitating anybody, but his imitation was good enough that I clocked it was Adam Sandler.
Now, do you know when...
Did I do the Chris Farley side of things? Let the boy sleep in your bed!
That's pretty good. Hey, come see our two-man show. We also take super chats.
I was thinking maybe this year for Halloween I might be a Matt Foley motivational speaker. Somebody inspired me with one of the AI-generated images in the Discord server.
So I got to catch up on like 2 days of Discord, and I'm assuming the AI has been insane. If you guys want to be a part of that Discord, by the way, support us on the Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg, or click the join button here on YouTube. $5 a month. You're supporting us, supporting independent Dodgers coverage, independent media here on the YouTube. Nobody pays us but you people and YouTube by you guys watching us.
Did you?
You get the Discord through that. Thank you. You just muted yourself.
Did you see my follow-up on the Discord AI dinosaur picture of me?
I did not. About your goat show?
One of the residents at work, I work in an assisted living home. One of the residents, the other night, I was talking to him at dinner, and he was showing me some pictures that his kids made, AI-generated images of him. And I said, let me show you this one that somebody who listens to my podcast did. And I showed him, and he's, text that to me. So I texted it to him. The next day, he comes down, he's printed it up, laminated it, and wrote a poem about it. And so now it's posted on the wall at work, the picture of me riding a dinosaur with a poem written by a 90-year-old man. It's pretty remarkable.
You're going to have to read the poem, by the way.
Yeah, we need it. Yeah. When you do your first emergency show from your broom closet there at work.
I've got it. That should be our teaser, because I put the poem and the picture in the Discord. So maybe you gotta join the Discord to see it. You know?
Oh, there it is. Boom.
Oh, okay.
Their
There it
Patreon
is.
and
Yeah.
YouTube members.
If that doesn't convince them, I don't know what will.
Yeah, if you guys don't like poems from old men about Jeff, damn it, now people are
This old
mass-
man, I obviously can't tell you his name for privacy rules, but I will tell you before this poem, his previous 2 claims to fame were father of a former NFL player and ate the first tater tot outside the tater tot factory when they were invented.
John Tater Tot.
But now wrote a poem about me on a dinosaur, has moved up to #1 over tater tots and NFL sons.
Hot take: tater tots are overrated. They're not even that good.
All right, that's enough.
It's like the worst form of
That
potato.
This was fun.
How can
It's the worst form of potato.
I don't know that there's such a thing as an overrated form of potatoes.
yeah?
It's the worst form
Like,
of potato.
It's
you
the
know what's
world's
overrated
most-
is sweet potato fries. It's like, hey, you know French fries that are
like
perfect?
those
Let's make them out of something worse.
Yeah, no.
I like them better than tater tots. Tater tots are always too oily and gross. They make me
Well,
stomach
that
hurt.
means you're making your tater tots wrong. That don't.
You know what
blame
else is
the
too oily and
method.
gross? Your mom. Boom! I got your back, Tater Tots. Boys. All right, what is going on here? I'm gonna get back
There
to
goes-
the. It's like his messaged me off like my mother is a nice woman.
There goes the who's the big tater tot frozen with the big frozen bag of tater tots? It's a red bag.
I thought there was like a person called the Big Tater Tot, like a football man.
Oh yeah, there goes our Orida sponsorship right there.
Dang. Whatever. I prefer Great Value anyways. Walton, sponsor your boys. Mr. Free TVG several hours ago said, I'm calling it today. Muncie's going to have, he's going to put together a 40 homer season. And not at the same time, but my mouse is being a dick. But Vin88 says, yeah, we also need to think a little bit about third base some because Max Muncy doesn't stay healthy. You get a healthy Muncy, 40 is 1,000% on the table. When I talked to him last year at spring training, he'd slimmed down a little bit. He was feeling good, feeling froggy, feeling healthy. And I asked him, is 40 on the table? And he's like, oh, yeah. And then he got hurt. But when he's not hurt.
Because you asked him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was several months in between and a really, really dumb slide from whoever was on the White Sox. I forget who. But you know, 35 is kind of the floor for him when he puts up a full season. So that said, we've talked a fair amount about Muncy and his inability at times to stay on the field. Usually they're freak injuries, or sometimes they're freak injuries. Sometimes, I guess, probably more so. We could say usually they're not. They're kind of just...
It's the oblique.
Yeah, it's the oblique. It's body movement stuff, which is far from ideal.
He's got a violent swing. It's like, it's going to happen.
Steve just walked into an episode of Tater Wars.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite form of potato?
Me or Kevin? Let's go Kevin.
Both of you.
I want Kevin first.
I
I got to think about it.
I make a really good twice baked potato, or potatoes au gratin are probably my favorite.
I'll give you the clap for a baked potato because baked potato is just, it's so versatile.
Twice baked.
Yeah, but I'm on a regular potato. Give me a regular baked potato. Give me a raw potato. That's what I like. Don't even clean it. Don't wash it.
All right, Gollum, relax.
Like that
Are you
firm
Samwise?
crunch. But yeah, no, baked potato, whole bunch of sour cream and cheese and butter and bacon bits in there. Maybe throw some
I like
carne asada.
baked potato but with chili on it.
It's
chili
also
and cheese
see again,
on
it's
top.
versatile. It's very versatile.
Put chili and cheese on top of anything.
Wendy's
I
chili?
like just a good steak fry, like from Red Robin. Their steak fries, like that, if they're crispy on the
You
outside.
like them because they're bottomless.
You know, there was a time I went to Red Robin and I asked, so you have the bottomless fries. Do you also have topless fries? It's my time.
Wait, you give yourself applause for that? Give me
Yeah.
a boo.
Yeah.
Man, I need
Because
to get a
boobies. It's that kind of show.
You
It's that
like
kind of show
boobs on
that
your fries.
listen, I like that Jeff's the one that's derailing a Saturday show here.
Is that a good segue to transfer into the? If you've been listening with your kids, we're now moving into the All Dodgers After Dark portion of this show. So F bombs start now, not from me, but but at least from Richie, we know that.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Fuck. There. Do you feel bad? Do you feel bad now, Jeff? Give us your worst, worst curse that you use when you're upset. Is it raspberries?
No, I'll do worse than that. Sometimes I'll say "son of a whore."
Oh, that's a good one. I'll give you the clap for
and
that.
And that stepped up a little bit after I started loving Hamilton so much.
I know Hamilton. We're on the fence about him. Oh, you're not talking about my friend.
No. I'm talking about Jeff Hamilton, who took over number 3 for the Dodgers after Steve Sachs went to the Yankees. One of my favorite memes. It's like, Aaron Burr, why does Hamilton hate me so much? Well, maybe stop referring to his mother as a whore constantly throughout the musical.
Where were we at here? Where are we at? Come on. Gage says we should have ended the show there. On boobies? Steve says, I'm with Clint. Boobies for the win. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
This is why him having the buttons isn't good, because it's just all this like echo chamber. Like we all prop up his ego.
Well, I mean, there's nobody saying like anything against what I'm saying, I think, about the boobies. BC also agrees with me. Baked is the least unhealthy option of potato. If we're getting back to potato wars. You tell me what chat you want me to put up right now, Kevin, and I'll put it up. God damn it!
Just saying, you could just put up nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Raul said, Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. If you know, you know.
Speaking of mothers who are whores.
Mother rides a vacuum cleaner. Well, if we're going to get into some good Jeff words, why don't we get into some voicemails, guys? If you want to call in and leave a voicemail, it's too late. But we're going to go ahead and listen to the 2 regulars. We appreciate you guys calling in. We got Noah, we got Richie, and here's some Noah, if you know.
Well, what up, guys? It's Noah, as you know. And I got to say, guys, I'm really excited for this year. Especially after Ohtani hit that grand slam. We have him for another 8 years, guys. Honestly, spring training has been a blast seeing the young talent we have. Josue De Paula, Zaire Hope, and heck, even the speed of Kendall George, James Tibbs, or as Clint said, JT3. It's been amazing, guys. So, let's be realistic, though. We're probably not going to see all of them wear a Dodgers jersey because we're stacked, guys. We have a bunch of our players locked up for a while. And in all honesty, guys, I don't think Kyle Tucker is going to opt out. He's getting paid $60 million a year. So I personally think that as much as we love James Tibbs, I doubt we're going to see him at all in the major leagues. So as we watch the rest of these spring training games, keep that in mind, that as much as we love them, we eventually got to let them go. But anyways, guys, as you know, fuck the Dodgers Stadium parking lot, fuck Manny Machado, fuck Fernando Tatis, fuck Jerickson Profar, fuck PCA, fuck Jose Altuve, fuck the Padres, fuck the Giants, and for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner. See ya.
The list is getting longer. Raul says favorite potatoes is vodka, and that's good. That also, in my opinion, warrants a button. As long as Kevin's okay with giving that an applause.
Anyway, the Kyle Tucker thing is always interesting because you should want him to end up opting out because that means he performed well in his 2 years as a Dodger. So, like, I'm hoping there isn't a 3rd or 4th year because, like I said, that means he won a championship and, went off and he's looking for a longer term, good AAV contract. If he opts in, I'm worried that, like, he hasn't been very good.
By the way, Noah mentioning...
He likes it. I don't know.
Noah mentioning Shohei's salami phrasing. It is after dark, but mentioning that grand salami last night, I guess it was last night, overnight, this morning, whatever you want to say. So looking over at the FanDuel odds of Shohei's chances of hitting over 50 homers again. This is the one category he's not like at the top of the list. You can look him up on FanDuel. He's right there at the top when you're looking for league MVP in the National League. But Aaron Judge is the favorite, minus 106. Shohei Ohtani, plus 104. Also, you can look up if he's going to hit 60 homers. And I think it's the same setting right there. Plus 400 for Aaron Judge, plus 450 for Shohei Ohtani. 60's a lot. I don't even know if Show gets to the 50 mark. We'll talk about that next time we do predictions. 40 though, minus 500. Just so you know the numbers. Thanks to our friends at FanDuel. Any thoughts about Shohei homers and betting on him, Jeff?
I like when he hits homers. The Grand Slam was like a day and a half ago. Last night's or this morning's home run was only a solo homer. Yeah, he's played 2 games and homered twice, and also has a single and a double and a ton of RBIs. And yeah, he's good at baseball, and I'm excited for him to be good at baseball in a Dodger uniform again in a couple weeks.
On other home run news, Ozzy Albies just walked off Team Nicaragua with a 3-run homer in the 9th. It's pretty cool.
Oh wow! You should probably be watching that instead of whatever this is. Hey, completely different angle.
Awesome,
It is fun. I need to watch more of it. I have not watched enough of the games thus far. But Steve says, how can we forget about hitting taters? Maybe the best taters are the taters we made along the way.
I can't eat those though, so.
Not with that attitude.
Bah. Right in the face.
So, Clint's the guy who he wants his potatoes shot out of a gun.
Yeah.
And he'll eat them off the street.
Listen, back in Jeff's day, that was all they had was a potato gun. And they played with it to the cows came home.
Yeah, we shot it from our dinosaur,
From our AI dinosaur. The Enigma, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. The Enigma says, I agree with Noah. I'm calling it now. Tucker will be a Dodger for a while, even if he opts out. Why would the Dodgers let him leave if he was so good? Money. Because if he's looking for years, we know they're not interested in giving him a lot of years. That could only be the
thing. And if he opts out in 2 years, that'll be be in line with their young outfield prospects anyway. That'll be about when Zaire Hope or Josue DePaula is ready for, everyday starts.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance the Dodgers sign Tucker to an extension beyond the 4 years. It's either 2 years or it's 4 years. I guess, does he technically have is it just the one opt out?
It's opt out after 2 and after 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it could be a 3-year thing, but yeah, they're not gonna sign him longer unless something crazy happens and all those outfield prospects are terrible in AAA or something.
Or they trade them all for
Cartaya route.
Rest in peace. Giants legend Diego Cartaya. Hey, we got another voicemail, and it's at the end of the show when it's Richie's because I know how much it bothers him that we bury the lead with Richie. But Richie has some thoughts about a number of things. Let's go ahead and listen to what Richie has to say on the voicemail hotline. One of these days.
Hey, Clint.
There it is.
Happy Saturday to you. If there's 2 things that I've learned in life, it's simply this. # no toughness, having humility, being humble, and learning from your mistakes. And if you can't handle that, then there's also the alternate. Karma is a motherfucker. And that's certainly the position that our friend Jerickson Profar is finding himself today. After spending 80 games last year in a PED suspension, now he finds himself sitting at 162 for the entire year. And hopefully, and justifiably, I hope that his career is over as a baseball player. In the 2024 season, Profar had one of his more prolific seasons of the world, hitting for power, clutch hits, being a good defensive outfielder. I wonder why. It was his best season of his entire career. And then goes out and pulls that shit in Game 2 of the NLDS at Dodger Stadium, punking a catch that he made everybody thought wasn't caught, and it turned out he did, and then essentially rubbed it in everybody's faces throughout Dodger Stadium. And of course, we knew what happened there. And then got all bent out of shape when somebody threw a ball at him out of the stands. Now, of course, that was not cool either, and we shouldn't have done that. But still, if you're going to fuck with the bull, you're going to get the horns. And it was an entire shit show. And don't forget, earlier that year, he found himself punking Will Smith because they thought that he was throwing at him, and then all of a sudden, Will Smith is public enemy number 1. But I say this. Karma is a bitch, and he deserves everything for it, and I'm here to cheer it on. His entire career has been a chip on his shoulder. I'm the victim. I'm the modern David and Goliath, and you're certainly not. You're a total asshole, and you deserve everything that you got coming to you. And like I said, I'm here with the pom-poms to cheer it all on. The only time that I want to see you on any type of media whatsoever is on Trevor Bauer's YouTube channel entitled I Struck Out a 2-Time Offender of the PED Protocol. So fuck the Dodger Stadium parking lot. Fuck Manny Machado. Fuck PCA and Profar and Schultz and Tatis, and for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner. Yeah.
Richie's not a fan of Jurickson Profar. I don't know if you guys were picking that up.
Yeah, it came across a little bit. This is now 4 times this week that we talked about Jurickson Profar.
It's irrelevant though. Feels pretty relevant.
Yeah. Because we mentioned him the day when the Padres signed Verdugo. We talked about the fact that the Braves only signed Verdugo last year as a Profar replacement. And then the next day, Profar gets suspended again. And Kevin and I talked about it. And then the day after that, Clint and I talked about it because Clint doesn't watch the shows when he's not on them.
God, no.
And now we got Richie talking about it. So now I think we could never say the words Jurickson Profar ever again.
That's another,
right?
What is that, Horcrux? It's another Horcrux right there. That's another, he who can't be named or shan't be named or won't be named. Permanently ineligible to play list.
I'd rather talk about Michael Conforto for an hour than ever say Jurickson Profar's name again.
How is
all I'll say is that dude's dad is a real jerk.
How is Michael Conforto doing, by the way?
He got signed to a major league deal.
Was it a major league deal?
I thought it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, he's with the Cubs.
He's on the Cubs,
what do you know?
right? Yeah.
You should know right away. You're Cubs.
Right.
The Dodgers traded Michael Conforto to the Cubs for Kyle Tucker.
I forgot. Man, I don't know movie. He's at 400. Lost the trade. We lost the
But the Baseball Reference says he's a non-roster invite, which means it's a minor league deal.
The minor league deal.
Yeah, you don't get a big league deal after hitting.
He is batting 400 with an 1171 OPS.
I just said that.
So
yeah. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Putting him in Wrigley's outfield, he might not last very long out there. Oh, boy.
No.
Oh,
who's worse? Who's worse, him or Seiya? I mean, I guess Suzuki's kind of mostly DHing, you know.
I think part of it is I think Seiya really wants to be a good outfielder. The Cubs have just said, no, you're not allowed to be. I think Seiya at least wants to be. I don't think Michael Conforto cares. I think he just wants to play baseball.
Big time Cubs podcast here. By the way, if you guys want more Cubs talk, me, Alana, Katie are welcoming Sahadev Sharma, whatever his name is. They host Northside Territory on the Foul Network. He is a writer for the Cubs for The Athletic, so check that out. I've been pocketing this one because it's important that we recognize every Dodger playing in the WBC and their homer. Any homers they hit, and Bob Student 10 says Kim's ding dong was nice.
The swing looked good. It looked like a good swing, but he's still striking out.
Oh, he had a homer too?
Kim's ding dong was nice.
Home run. Look, my mind isn't perpetually in the gutter like your guys', so
but that reminds me, what's your favorite Hostess product?
Ooh.
Me? Are there more than just Twinkies and ho-hos?
I think I might be a ho-ho.
Kevin.
I think
Kevin
I might
will
be
never be.
Oh wait, no, there's a snowball, isn't there? There's a snowball.
Don't go for the
there's
snowball.
Cupcakes. There's donuts. There's ding dongs. There's.
Oh wait, are donuts?
There's cupcakes and donuts. And...
Okay, the crunchy donuts are probably my favorite.
Crunchy.
Yeah,
you're overcooking
them.
Crumb.
I like brown.
Yeah,
They're crumbly.
They call them crunchy, but yeah.
Crumbly.
Yeah. Because ding dongs are real good. They remind me of my grandma's house. She always had them in the cupboard. So,
Grandma loved ding dongs.
I'm not.
Do you remember when they changed the?
I'm worried about.
So you remember when Hostess went out of business for a little while, and then they came back.
Oh yeah,
back in 2018.
It's a huge. That was a somewhat. No, it wasn't even a huge plot point of Zombie Land.
It was.
It was. Well, I mean, Woody Harrelson getting Twinkies was, but not that.
It was the whole MacGuffin of the movie. That's why they did what they did.
Wasn't it that he wanted them, but not necessarily that they went and closed? I don't remember. Anyways, he got his Twinkies, and Bill Murray died.
But Chocodiles were gone even after they came back, but then they brought them back. But now Chocodiles are just chocolate-covered Twinkies. Back before they went out of business, Chocodiles actually had a different cake than Twinkies did. It was more of a white cake. But both versions are really good. Chocodiles are really good, but you can't go wrong with actually any of the 3 classic donut flavors: the chocolate frosted ones, the powdered donuts, and the crumb donuts. They're all.
Ken says Jeff's frozen ding dongs, Jeff.
Frozen, everything's better in the freezer for sure.
Yeah.
Frozen donuts are the best. The ding dongs and the Twinkies and everything, you don't want to freeze them for too long because I can't. I know it's after dark, but I'm still
talk about the creamy center.
Yes, it hardens more than the cake. So,
I was a big fan of the cream. Big fan of the cream. This is all cream podcast.
When I was in high school in wrestling,
way back when.
That's
an even worse segue. But continue.
There was another guy. He went to Canyon Springs High School in Moreno Valley. His name was Jeff Haywood. He was their heavyweight wrestler, and he and I, at any time we were at a tournament together, we would sit back behind the bleachers and just eat Twinkies together, just because it made other people laugh to see the two big fat guys eating Twinkies. And so we would just eat Twinkies between our matches together. I'd bring a couple boxes of Twinkies to every tournament if I knew that Jeff Haywood was going to be there with it. I haven't thought about Jeff Haywood in however long it's been since I was in high school. But hey, I hope you're watching, Jeff Haywood. If so, hit me up.
Slide into them DMs. He's Snide Dog.
Let's have a Twinkie.
Let's have a Twinkie. Have a Twinkie about it. Or a nice cream-filled ding-dong. Pause for effect.
The last time I had any hostess.
Well, you're not of the same girth of as people like me and Jeff and whatever Haywood. Jason Haywood.
Jeff Haywood. It's the same name as me. That's how you can remember.
I wasn't listening to the whole thing. Diane is checking in from an open house. I heard one Jeff, and then I heard a last name, and I assumed you were talking about yourself in the third person. JY
I am like The Rock in many ways.
We're on to Twinkies. I missed that. We are on to Twinkies, which means we're definitely into the hit the old wrap it up button time, guys. Out of all the shows we've done, this is one of them. I won't be here next Saturday because I will be drunk at Tempe Diablo Stadium with the boys. So maybe these gentlemen will be a part of the show.
I told you, my son's baseball season starts.
There will not be a Saturday show next Saturday. So we appreciate you guys hanging out here. I'll probably do one or two more on the channel this week before I take off. But otherwise, these gentlemen, I'm not excited. These fuckers will have you covered on content. It's Saturday. We're going to get away with that. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Saturday edition of the show. Sorry about all of it. If you didn't like it, support the show on Patreon and tell us in Discord how much you hated it. Tell us what your favorite cream filling is in a cream puff.
Twinkie Wiener Sandwich. Terry, you shouldn't have. What movie?
I don't know.
I know you've never seen it, but you've told me before because you're a loser. It's UHF, Weird Al's movie from 1989. Go watch it. It's the best.
It's on the list. There's a very long.
The only Weird Al movie I know has Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al. I think it's just called Al. Maybe it's just called Weird.
He's also in the Naked Gun movie, the first one.
He is.
Subscribe to the podcast.
I thought we were ending this show.
If you guys you started talking about Weird Al's Twinkie, cream-filled Twinkie, and all that kind of stuff.
Twinkie Wiener Sandwich.
Like us, love us.
All I've had is Woody Harrelson saying Garfield when they asked him what he regrets. He goes, Garfield, maybe.
Yeah, that was no, that wasn't Woody Harrelson. That was Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, sorry, Bill Murray.
Maybe. It wasn't Ronnie James Dio either. Thank you to Bleav. Thank you to FanDuel. Go buy all the stuff. Love us. Okay, bye.